So I'll start by apologizing for no video yesterday. I woke up at my normal time, and I get migraines often. And I had one yesterday morning, and took some medicine, went back to bed, decided I'm not even going to trade today. In the past, when I do try to trade with those, I always have a red day, and it just makes my stress worse, makes my head hurt worse, and it's just never a good day. So it's best to just not even risk anything. I ended up waking back up around 10:30ish, and I felt fine. Like, my medicine was working and stuff, and my headache was gone. Obviously, I should have just stayed out of the market because I wasn't able to do a proper analysis of the day. I wasn't able to. I like watching at 9:30 just to kind of see how the market's going to behave, and that helps. I think that helps me. And I already made the decision to not trade, so don't trade. I opened my phone, went on Tradeovate on my phone, and took a couple trades. So ended up giving back a few $100. Not proud of it. It is what it is. But it helped me reinforce the idea that I've had lately, where I need to scale down on trades depending on the setup. So as you know by now, my setup is looking for the fair value gaps, and the size of the fair value gap kind of dictates how much risk I'm going to be taking. And I like doing 5 contracts when the risk is 10 to 15 points. So based on that ratio, I made just a little handy dandy chart I can use on when I'm trading. So so the left side is just the points of the fair value gap that I'm risking, and this is how many contracts I'm allowed myself to get in at, and then this is roughly the dollar amount that I'm risking, just to put it in perspective for myself, because I was willing to do $150 per trade with 5 contracts. So it's making sure that all of them are roughly around there, but typically below. So my first trade yesterday, which I thought was a great setup, but it had 2 fair value gaps, and it was a pretty big move. So I ended up giving back almost 50 points on that trade. I can't have 5 contracts when I do that, not on this account size. So if I want to trade a 50-point fair value gap, I have to scale down to 1 contract, and then if I hit my stop loss, that's not a big deal. It's $100. I can easily withstand that and continue trading for the day. I can't continue trading when I have 5 contracts. So this really helped me today, because my first trade today was a losing trade, and it was a pretty big fair value gap I was getting in, and I scaled down to I think 3 contracts. So it wasn't a big deal to recover. Obviously, you saw we ended green on the day, so that's great. I took 3 trades, and first I'll just go over talking about my trades yesterday real quickly, briefly, because I couldn't show them, because when I scrolled back on the Tradervue chart, they weren't showing up. So I'm not sure why, because normally I thought all your trades from previous sessions show up on there, but maybe because it's technically an account through Apex, and it's technically a demo account even though it's a funded account. Maybe that's why they don't show up after each session. I don't know. Either way, not trying to hide it from you guys or anything, but I wasn't planning on trading yesterday, and I just opened up my phone and wasn't going to make a video on that, and just talk about it today. So yeah, that's that. Well, I'll put that first, because that's where we pick up from the previous video. But I'll add the chapters, and you guys can skip that if you don't want to see that, and if you just want to get into the actual trades. Let me know how you guys did, and hope you guys had a good week. Have a great weekend, and talk to you all on Monday. So yesterday's trades, Tradeovate wasn't showing them if I scrolled back on the chart. I thought they normally do that, so I'll just talk about them a little bit. But like I said, I was looking on my phone, and you only see so far back on your phone. In my mind, around after 10, we came up and traded, the day we started trading beneath these lows, traded up above the highs, and then I thought these fair value gaps were an indication that we were going to go lower. By the time I got in, I think it was way over here, Obviously, these would have been the ideal entries, but I jumped in and I think it was around like 290-ish maybe. Anyways, with 2 fair value gaps, I had my stop like way up here, and then I'm like, well, I'm just going to put it at the top of the move. So obviously this was a huge loss on that. We did not trade down there and took like a 50-point loss there. I sat on my phone for a few more minutes and caught like a little like 150-point move, or $150 move up, and then had like $100 loss. So ended the day like minus 468. I knew I shouldn't have traded. Waking up not feeling that great. Obviously, I'm gonna have a bad mindset going into trading, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad I did, because this trade I took, because I had to withstand such a large move that really drilled it into my head. Like, I need to scale down on those trades, and that's where I came up with the legend to tell me how many contracts I put on based on the size that I'm getting in, based on the risk that I'm getting in. So sorry the trades aren't actually showing, but that's basically what I did. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie about losing $468. So all right, back to your regular scheduled programming. I believe we're gonna look for longs today. Look at the daily chart on the NASDAQ. We don't really have many days recently to compare it to, but if we scroll back to April 2022, which I know is insane, but we have a fair value gap up here on the daily. So I think we're drawing up into that. Need to see how it behaves when we get to like 640-ish. But if I'm expecting it to go up to here, obviously we're not up there yet, so I'm going to look for longs to try to capture that movement. So if you're newer here, I just have my charts laid out where every single one is the NASDAQ, MNQ, trading the micros. Typically trade 5 micros at a time on here, but I have recently, as of last night, made a little chart to determine how many contracts I'm going to get into, because it seems like some of the trades that I'm confident on, they happen to be larger moves, and then I get in with all 5 contracts and it's a huge loss for me, where I followed my setup, but I kind of took a big hit to my P&L that day, and that kind of sucks. Whereas if I just would have scaled down to attempt the trade, it was a larger risk, but the reward was larger, so it would have been fine if I just scaled down. So if you're curious about that, I just have this little teeny tiny Drive Excel thing that I'm going to glance at if I see a trade, depending on how many points I'm risking, which is basically the fair value gap. So if the fair value gap is, say, 20 points, I need to scale down to 3 contracts, which I would end up risking $120 on that. I chose 5 points because a lot of the trades are like 10 to 15 points, and I'm comfortable with 5 contracts on that for 150. So this is a dollar amount, a rough dollar amount, if I get out at exactly this amount of points for a loss with this many contracts. That's just what I'm doing. Instead of going into every single trade with 5 contracts, I need to adjust it based on the size of the risk. Oh, back to the charts. Left side, I keep a daily 1 hour, 15-minute, just to keep an eye on like bigger trends, bigger moves. My middle chart is where I trade, or where I execute orders. Typically have that on a 1 minute, but I will switch it to either like a 1 or a 5-minute chart if that's where I saw a setup. And then the right hand side is where I keep like the 2-minute and the 5-minute. So if I see if I see like a setup on the 2-minute and I want to take that, I may make this my 1-minute chart, make this my 2-minute chart, just swapping them, and then trade off the 2-minute for the time being, and then depending on how I feel, put it back. Thinking about waiting for this to come back into this fair value gap. See if we come back like halfway, like around 560, maybe 550, and then get in long there. Potentially coming up to that 640, 650 level that I was talking about, because we didn't quite get there. If we get in at 560, my stop will be down here at 540. It's 20 points, so I need to keep it at 3 contracts. We're back inside this huge fair value gap. I really want to see it come down to 60 though. I'm going to say that's close enough. Put that down on 40. And I'm targeting 640. I do think we go back up there. Maybe not. God damn. That wasn't it. Well, that's why I scaled down, so I could try a big move like that. Oh, it's only 9:48. I'm gonna go ahead and wait until after 10 to even look for another setup. Gives me time to let that trade sink in, not let it affect me. Seeing a green candle now, like I would have wanted to jump right back in the past, but obviously that's not good practice. Even if it does rip up, it's not a good idea. I need to stick to my rules, stick to my setup. I'm assuming we're gonna go down into this area. I would think take out some stops. If we're gonna keep running, that's what we would do first. And we also have a new day opening gap down at between 495 and 472. So in this area, see us going down into here. That may be ripping up. See if we come down into here. That's the difference between yesterday's close and today's open. So we'll see how it behaves here. See if we can get a fair value gap breaking out of that. So we're in 5 on the retest of that fair value gap. We have a gap breaking out of the new day opening gap. We came down and traded in it perfectly. So maybe we can go back up to that 640, 650 level I was talking about. We'll just give it some time. Be nice and patient. Maybe take some profits if we can get up above these. First, we got to get out of here. Not get ahead of ourselves here. We have a few fair value gaps to the downside that we're probably gonna not struggle to get through, but it's gonna like trade up and down in these. And if we can break out of them, great. And then it's off to the next one where we trade up and down, off to the next one, trade up and down. Not gonna, I don't foresee it being like this move this morning where it went straight up and then straight down. Came up into this first fair value gap right here. But again, I think we might struggle to get through those. I'm not going to move my stop, but like when that happens, it makes me think, well, maybe I just put it beneath all of this nonsense, but I don't want to risk another 10 to 12 points on the trade. And if this trade doesn't work out, this is where my going in with a daily bias, I think, is really screwing me up. So there's been a couple shorts now that we could have taken, but I was looking for longs, so I didn't take them. Just gonna trust the setup and see if it plays out. Go ahead and put this on 1 and take brackets off in case I do want to do some partials. But I really don't even want to think about taking a partial unless we get back up above this high. If we can get a strong candle here, that would look pretty good with a fair value gap, breaking that swing. Having a little bit of trouble there. Again, we got to get through this candle right here. I feel like 532, we got to get past that. If we get past that, we have a good chance of getting up to like 560, 570. Up there, it's gonna probably swing around for a little while. Just breaking those out so we can take partials and at least moving them to break even. But at least we don't go red on this trade. I really think 560 is on the horizon. On like the 2-minute, or on all these charts, all the charts like 5 minutes and below have a fair value gap up there that could go up. So it's really just depending on like if we hit the 550, 560 level in reverse, or if we're gonna go back through it. If we do go through it, I think filling in these is in question, and then possibly back up to the highs. And to be honest, this is starting to, my patience is getting lower and lower. I think I'm at like a pretty good, I would be happy with this profit right here. Kind of sucked to sit through that only to be break even, but really targeting this high back here. We have a second little fair value gap to the upside right here after we came back and tested the new day opening gap one more time, and then maybe that's blast off. My mistake is I keep freaking looking at the money up here. I meant to put like a sticky note over my monitor so I can't see that when I trade, and just stick with my new little contracts like legend and make a couple trades and see how we do. I'm gonna move some of these up. Not all of them, but well, I mean, I moved them all, but keeping a few down here. One at 10, one at 17. See how it behaves back here with this fair value gap. So our entry, we're probably not going to come back to our entry, and we're going to freaking rip up another 100 points like I missed out on the other day. I just couldn't. Still working on my patience. I need to do more. I need to actually like back test with this strategy and see what the win rate like percentages and what I should be expecting on a day-to-day basis for myself. Like I see like what other people can do, but it's different. if I'm in control of it. I think it's safe to say maybe longs aren't the play for today. The trade that we were in, we just had a swing low taken out by a fair value gap, retested. Could have shorted that here, 18 down to like 20, 30 points within a minute, within 2 minutes. This move right here came down below the fair value gap that we entered on. I'm not sure if we should, I think we should start looking for shorts, but just see how this plays out. We can be patient. Could have possibly shorted that one while I was talking. I don't want to short this because we haven't really broken down past this area. It would have been okay to short up here targeting this block, but I don't want to short it expecting to go to the other side because I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I need to see that happen and then we can get in for the move away from it. Fair value gap to the upside. It sure still feels like we're going to move back up there. This one is 20-ish. If I get in on this one, we got to go down to 3 contracts. This move just broke this swing high right here inside of this fair value gap. Let's take this. Got in a little late, but 2 fair value gaps, roughly 20 points risk, but we're breaking that swing high. Came down and traded in the gap, came back into it one last time, quickly bought up. Probably should have went down to 2 contracts for this one, risking roughly 30-ish points. As of right now, this movement's expected. Still in this fair value gap. Really thought that this move back here was gonna break through because we came in and traded a bit in this rectangle, and we came up and broke this fair value gap. Not by a lot, but we did start trading above it, and at one point like this was a strong green candle and had to come back down one last time. Maybe this entry back here wasn't the best because this fair value gap wasn't really, it didn't break any swing highs. Does that mean we were bound to come back to it? I don't know. Maybe this one will be a little bit better because we have 2 fair value gaps and it broke this swing high. Came in, we got it on the first test. With these quick moves, I wanted to get on the first one and just expect to hold through both of them. That's where my chart came in handy. But this entry would have been fine too. Obviously that would have been better. Would be in 27 points of profit right now instead of 6. And also maybe I should be putting my, I can't remember, but maybe I should be putting my stops at like the order block before the move. So this one would have been this red candle. I don't know. Have to keep that in mind. And all right, let's go to 60 now, shall we? Looking at this high right here. Crazy to think that if I was just a little more patient and waited for it to come back into this first fair value gap, I mean, we probably would have entered at 12, but if we would have waited for it to come down here, we'd be in almost 50 points right now. I don't know why, but 50-point trades is like, if I could pick out 50-point trades, I feel like I made it. So we're at that fair value gap on the 5-minute right now, breaking a little above it. I really would expect us to at least come halfway. If we're gonna keep moving down, I would expect us to come halfway. Maybe like 80-ish. All right, there's our 60. I'm gonna take one at 60 at least. I mean, that was like my target from back here. At least I can say I got that. I can't. I'm just taking it all. Maybe this was another opportunity where we just run all day after, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy with like 20 to 30 point trades. If I can do 20 to 30 point trades consistently, that would really help build my confidence in order to start going after 40 to 50 point trades and then 60 to 70 point trades. This second trade could have exited at 30 to 40 points. We also could have held it this whole time. I don't know if I would have liked it going red after seeing it go 40 points in the green. Look at this. Wait a couple more minutes. Well, I'm going to be done today. Here's our performance. If anybody was curious, it was crucial for me to scale down. This trade back here that didn't work out, that would have been a little more painful if we had 5 contracts instead of 3. So I think we're making the right steps, the right moves to improving daily. I know I lost more yesterday in one day than I made in today, or that I made on between like Tuesday and Wednesday. But I think this move to taking contracts based on this legend, I think that's going to really help minimize those days, because it was like a 50-point loss I had yesterday. I should have just entered with only one contract, seeing that I was willing to hold it for 50 points. So that loss would have been $100. And I would have been like, oh, I just gave back 50 points. I should just stop trading today. Or wait for a setup that presents itself that's, only has a risk of 10 points. And I could have made a couple more trades, and maybe yesterday would have been a green day. This is going to help me, though, I believe. If you guys, I think other people do this too. So if you guys do that, or if you have any little tips that you do with your trading, throw it in the comments and let's help each other out.